Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most memorable, effective, and devastating nuclear bomb explosions in movies. Be warned, this list is full of spoilers.
I don't know exactly how to put this, sir, but are you aware of what a serious breach of security that would be? I mean, you'll see everything.
Number 30, the Crazies. A virus causing people to commit acts of depraved violence spreads through a small town. Two survivors, David and Judy, escape in a truck just as the government unleashes a nuclear weapon on the town in hopes of containing the virus. The explosion's massive.
Anything?
No.
Though the CGI effects may leave a little to be desired, the ensuing dust form and mushroom clouds are really effective. Some may want to dock some points for accuracy since the characters seem to be unharmed by looking directly at the Flash, but all in all, it's a really well done climax.
I'm sorry, honey.
Number 29, Empire of the Sun. Steven Spielberg's moving film about a British boy imprisoned in an internment camp in China only briefly touches on the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. As young Jim Graham watches over the dead body of his fellow prisoner, he sees the sky set alight.
I saw it. White light. I thought it was Mrs. Victor's soul going up to heaven.
A flash from the bombings of Japan some hundreds of miles away soars across the sky above him. He seems to interpret it as something otherworldly, perhaps godly. It's a beautiful and unexpectedly serene representation of the bombings. Jim doesn't know what it is until later. We only see what he sees, a beautiful wave of light shooting across the sky.
Atom bomb. It was like a white light in the sky. Like God taking a photograph.
Number 28, Countdown to Looking Glass. Told entirely through a fictionalized news broadcast, this HBO TV movie from 1984 takes place on the brink of a third world war. The broadcast covers increasingly tense global relations as alliances and communication breaks down and militaries advance on one another.
We have no confirmation that nuclear weapons have been used.
You're telling me that mushroom cloud out there is a conventional weapon? Who has release authority in this group? Whose depth charge was that?
Mick, honest to God, I just don't know.
A correspondent reports live from the field when a huge flash explodes. The anchor can only listen as the reporter covers what we know will be his last story. Without the benefit of seamless special effects, the movie relies on the breakdown of technology to communicate the helplessness and horror that would come with the nuclear war.
Reasonable people, once they've looked the devil in the face, aren't going to shake hands with him. What do you think?
Well, without that constant hope, I guess the human race wouldn't have got this far.
Number 27, The Return of the Living Dead. A sequel to the grindhouse classic Night of the Living Dead, the zombies in this 80s-tastic flick are generally figures of comedy more than anything else.
I thought you said if we destroyed the brain, it'd die.
It worked in the movie!
Well, it ain't working now, Frank.
You mean the movie line?
Even a nuclear bomb detonation is played for some sick laughs. When a toxic gas causes an epidemic of reanimated brain-eating corpses, the government eventually does the sensible thing.
It's weird. These people seem to say they've been waiting for this to happen. Apparently they got some sort of contingency plan to deal with it. Huh?
Well, that's great.
What is this plan?
They nuke the town and everyone in it. Every character we've come to know and love is annihilated almost instantly. It may be in line with the movie's irreverent anti-establishment themes, but even if you're prepared for it, it's still a real downer. Number 26, The Peacemaker. While some movies draw out the effects of the initial explosion, this George Clooney political thriller is almost shockingly efficient. Khodorov, a traitorous Russian general, arranges a train collision which will detonate a stolen nuclear warhead. A couple in rural Russia, hearing the train crash, stumble out into the night. In a flash, the bomb explodes. A white light, then a wall of fire engulfs the entire surrounding area. The couple represent the thousands killed in the blast. We don't linger too long. It's as simple as here 1 minute and gone the next. Number 25, Damnation Alley. In this post-apocalyptic thriller, the US suffers a crippling nuclear attack by the Soviet Union. We see the action first from the confines of a military base. The bombs are just streaks on a computer display, inching their way toward American cities.
Multiple warhead strike confirmed. Retaliatory strike on advisement.
Contact at 265, heading 85 degrees. They're unknown.
Jesus.
Then we see the destruction on the ground. Explosions erupt all over the country, sending eerie fire through the sky, as if the whole world is burning. Although the rest of the movie is relatively cheesy, the juxtaposition between the sterile environment of the military base and the reality of the bombs falling is deeply unsettling.
Missile strikes confirmed. Boston, Philadelphia, Trenton, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Pittsburgh.
Number 24, Failsafe.
The Russians are watching their boards, trying to figure out what we're up to. If we can't convince them it's an accident which we're trying to correct by any means, we're going to have something on our hands that nobody bargained for. And only a lunatic wants.
The bombing in this Cold War thriller is left mostly to our imagination. That's more than enough. When a computer error accidentally sends a group of American bombers on a mission to destroy Moscow, the president offers the only solution he can think of. If their attack on Moscow succeeds, he will order American planes to bomb New York City as penance to prevent a world war. He listens in horror as the phone line to Moscow goes dead with a loud, deafening beep.
I can hear the sound of explosions from the northeast. The sky is very bright, all lit up.
He makes good on his promise. The flattening of New York is represented in a series of still images and fast zooms. Then only the sounds of explosions. Watching it now is shocking, and audiences in 1964 must have been horrified. Number 23, True Lies. The stakes of James Cameron's zany spy thriller may be life and death, but the tone is a lot lighter than you might expect.
Are we gonna die?
Yep.
I'd say it's working.
Having saved her from the bad guys, secret agent Harry Tasker and his wife Helen share a celebratory embrace on the highway. In what is easily one of the most innocuous and fun nuclear detonations on this list, the nuke that goes off in True Lies serves as a romantic backdrop for their kiss. While in real life this probably wouldn't be as much of a shrug, that's what movie magic is all about. And with all the death and devastation on this list, at least it's memorable for something other than the destruction.
We should be safe here. This is the wrong finger.
Number 22, Fat Man and Little Boy. Before Christopher Nolan turned his attention to the discovery of the atom bomb, this underrated historical drama about the Manhattan Project dramatized the Trinity tests. Paul Newman stars as General Leslie Groves, the officer who oversaw the project.
Whatever gives you the sweats, keeps you up at night, whatever, all of that belongs to the United States Army. Or to me, if that makes you feel more comfortable.
In its climax, the bomb is tested against a classical music score that lends an air of almost satirical levity to the proceedings. J. Robert Oppenheimer's mouth is blown open by the blast in an undignified and almost comical way.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Then the reality sets in. The bomb is a success. The world is forever changed. Number 21, The Avengers.
I can close it. Can anybody copy? I can shut the portal down.
Do it! No, wait. Stark, these things are still coming. I got a nuke coming in. It's gonna blow in less than a minute.
This team really has their hands full. If they're not saving New York from an invasion of Chitauri, they're attempting to defuse a potential nuclear attack. Fearing the Chitauri invasion, the World Security Council launches a nuke at Manhattan.
Director Fury, the Council has made a decision.
I recognize the Council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
What results is pure action cinema. Iron Man intercepts the nuke and uses it to destroy the Chitauri mothership. The spectacle is fantastic, but what works best here is the emotion. Tony is fully aware of the danger and calls Pepper to say goodbye, but to no avail. Robert Downey Jr. is superb, conveying fear, anxiety, and eventual heartbreak with nothing but his facial expressions. Number 20, American Assassin. We've seen a ton of nuclear detonations on screen, but few that have occurred underwater. American Assassin tried doing something a little different, and it worked out wonderfully.
We take out his boat, it'll detonate.
If it goes off above the waterline,
disaster. We fall out all over the mainland.
After killing Ghost, Rapp drops the nuclear bomb into the water, and it goes off in a spectacular display. The nuke creates a massive hole in the ocean, causing nearby ships to break apart, and even generates an enormous tidal wave that engulfs everything in its path. This is great entertainment, and the idea of doing it in the water was fresh and ingenious.
If we don't engage, that guarantees detonation. I understand there's a risk, but this is the best chance we've got.
Number 19. The Divide. Most movies work their way up to a devastating nuclear attack. The Divide opens with one. As the film begins, New York City is slammed by numerous nuclear explosions. The image is a startling one. A large mushroom cloud rises from the impact zone. Dust billows through the streets and the apocalyptic yellow sky sparkles with lightning. As this is a low-budget movie, we don't see much of the attack itself. Rather, the movie switches focus to the immediate aftermath and panic. However, this is a welcome shift, as it horrifyingly depicts the fright and hysteria that accompanies a disaster. It's a haunting opening to a haunting movie.
After a blast, everything gets vaporized and sucked up into the atmosphere and rains back down to Earth.
Number 18. When the Wind Blows. A heartbreaking piece of animation, When the Wind Blows follows a loving elderly couple who attempt to survive in a nuclear-ravaged England. The story takes place during the Soviet-Afghan War and presents an alternate reality in which England was hit by a nuclear bomb.
An enemy missile attack has been launched against this country. It is estimated that the missiles will arrive in approximately 3 minutes.
Jim and Hilda hide in their makeshift shelter while the world-ending destruction occurs outside. Said destruction is both gorgeously animated and tragically evocative, depicting images straight out of a Cold War nightmare. The movie portrays a real-life fear through the magic of animation, and it does so in strikingly vivid fashion. Number 17. Testament. Nuclear movies were very popular back in the 80s as Cold War fears plagued the collective mind of America. Testament is one of those movies, depicting a small suburb in the midst of a nuclear event. The bombing scene is ingeniously filmed, favoring realism over cinematics.
This is San Francisco. We have lost our New York signal. Radar sources confirm the explosion of nuclear devices there in New York and up and down the East Coast.
The Weatherly family experiences the bombing through the likes of distressed news anchors. The emergency broadcast system cut electricity and air raid sirens. This is a petrifying scene that scares the viewers through authenticity. This is how a good number of Americans would experience a nuclear strike, not through a massive mushroom cloud, but through sheer panic and a frightening disruption of everyday routine.
Hello? Mom! Get away from that window!
Number 16. Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines. We thought that Terminator 2 gave the story a happy ending. We were wrong. One of the most surprising aspects of Terminator 3 is the incredibly gutsy and dour ending. John and Kate are sent to Crystal Peak, which is believed to be connected to Skynet. However, they quickly realize that it's a military fallout shelter and that they were sent there for protection.
Why did he lead us down here? To live.
As they make this realization, the world is bombarded with Skynet's nuclear strikes and Judgment Day officially begins. It's a stellar twist that contains some shocking visuals and nicely places John on his predetermined path as a military leader.
What the hell is happening? Who's in charge there?
I am.
Number 15. By Dawn's Early Light. This movie was released in May of 1990 and as such is one of the last of the aforementioned Cold War movies. It's based on William Procknow's novel Trinity's Child, which accurately depicts the consequences of a nuclear war between the United States and the Soviet Union.
We have a preliminary missile trajectory moving north-northeast from Turkey to the Soviet border, sir.
The movie features a number of nuclear blasts, including one that hits the White House and blows out its windows. Another forces down the president's helicopter, which causes many to presume that he's dead. The limited TV budget does what it can with the visuals, but our imaginations are more than capable of filling in the nauseating details.
Tyler, they're dead. Everybody, you got that? They're dead.
Number 14. Independence Day. This over-the-top classic is fondly remembered for the alien attack sequence in which the UFO beams decimate numerous American landmarks, but it also contains some killer nuclear bomb sequences. In the first, a nuke is dropped on an alien spaceship above Houston.
We are on station and awaiting instructions. Roger. Break formation.
Hit your targets.
The explosion is magnificent, but it fails to destroy the ship. In the second, a nuke is deployed in the alien's mothership, and the entire thing erupts in a brilliant flash of blue lights. This is pure summer blockbuster escapism, featuring a nuclear bomb, some hilarious banter, and a masterfully filmed escape sequence that leaves viewers white-knuckled and smiling. It's a legendary ending to a legendary movie.
Left. Tunnel, exit, left.
Where the hell do you think I'm going?
Number 13, Armageddon. This is perhaps the Michael Bayest of all the Michael Bay movies. A humongous asteroid is headed straight to Earth. So NASA trains a group of oil drillers to become astronauts, sends them into space, and has them drill a nuclear weapon into the core of the asteroid. It's ridiculous and it's tons of fun.
Yeah, one more thing. None of them want to pay taxes again. Ever.
Harry stays behind to activate the nuke, saving the world just in the nick of time. The resulting explosion is awe-inspiring, and it elicits loud cheers from both the audience and the characters in the movie. But we are also wiping away tears as Harry's goodbye to his daughter Grace is enough to make even the toughest among us weep. It all combines to create a majestic and unforgettable climax.
Colonel Willie Sharp, United States Air Force, ma'am. Requesting permission to shake the hand of the daughter of the bravest man I've ever met.
Number 12, The Sum of All Fears. For this Jack Ryan reboot, Ben Affleck took over the role from Harrison Ford and is tasked with stopping a fascist from starting a nuclear war. He has a bomb built in secrecy and drops it on Baltimore in an attempt to frame the Russians.
Look, I'm losing you. I'll call you back from a Baltimore. Sir.
The entire sequence is filled with great tension, and the resulting destruction is nothing short of harrowing. Thanks to the movie's high budget, we are given various spine-chilling sights. A hospital blows up and sends all the employees flying, cars are violently knocked off roads, and Jack's helicopter is thrown out of the air. It's a very impressive sequence, and it's arguably one of the best moments in the Jack Ryan franchise. Number 11, Broken Arrow. John Woo certainly knows how to direct an action sequence. Christian Slater plays Riley Hale, an Air Force pilot who must contend with John Travolta's Vic Deakins. Deakins is extorting the American government with 2 nuclear weapons. Hale recovers one of the bombs and stows it down an abandoned copper mine, where it proceeds to detonate. The plan mostly works as the explosion causes the ground to shake and ripple, and a vast sinkhole is created near the mine shaft. An approaching helicopter is also disabled, and it explodes in a gigantic fireball. The scene contains some accomplished filmmaking and stunt work, and Travolta chews the scenery as the bad guy. What's not to love?
SEMP, electromagnetic pulse. Nuclear blast sends it out for miles. Everything electronic shuts down, including choppers and radios.
Number 10, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Whatever your thoughts on the scene are, this could very well be one of the defining moments of 2000 cinema. Indiana Jones is kidnapped by KGB agents but eventually escapes and makes his way to a model town. This town is being used for atomic testing, and Indy is right on time.
All personnel, it is now 1 minute to 0 time. Put on goggles or turn away.
Fearing the imminent blast, Indy hides inside a lead-lined fridge and is sent hurtling through the air as the nuclear bomb strikes. The scene is filled with some terrific visual effects as the shockwave obliterates houses and sets nearby mannequins on fire. It looks suitably apocalyptic, especially when Indy climbs out of the fridge and gazes upon the towering mushroom cloud. Steven Spielberg knows how to bring the spectacle. Number 9, The Dark Knight Rises. There's nothing like a good heroic sacrifice to make us tear up. Realizing that there's no stopping Bane's bomb, Batman decides to sacrifice himself for the good of Gotham. He attaches the bomb to the Batplane, touchingly reveals his identity to Gordon, and flies over the water to his presumed doom.
A hero can be anyone, even a man doing something as simple and reassuring as putting a coat around a young boy's shoulders to let him know the world hadn't ended.
Of course, the Bat isn't really gone, but that doesn't quell the power of the scene. Like all of Christopher Nolan's best work, this sequence combines breathtaking filmmaking with an undercurrent of rich emotion, and it makes for an amazing conclusion to his historic Dark Knight trilogy.
That's detonation.
It's out over the bay. It's clear of the city.
Number 8. The Wolverine. This movie begins with a bang, quite literally. It opens in August of 1945, shortly before Nagasaki is decimated by the atom bomb. Logan is being held as a prisoner of war when Fat Man is dropped on the city. The event is shown in explicit detail. We see Fat Man quickly falling towards the ground, and we see the colossal explosion and mushroom cloud that results from it. The scene also contains some pulse-pounding tension as the dust cloud quickly travels toward Logan and Ichiro and forces Logan to take some drastic measures that leave him literally scarred. The visuals are sensational, as is the cacophonous sound design. Now, this is how you open a movie. Number 7. Barefoot Gen. While we're on the subject of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, let's discuss Barefoot Gen. This is an anime from 1983 that follows Gen Nakaoka during the bombing of Hiroshima.
一方、アメリカではマンハッタン計画と呼ばれ、オッペンハイマーをはじめとする科学者たちが3年越しに研究を続けている。
The city is destroyed while Gen is at school, and what results is one of the most imaginative sequences ever seen in an anime. Animation can do wondrous and lushly imaginative things, and this sequence gets incredibly stylish. The visuals are boundless in their creativity, and they also pack a devastating emotional punch. The scene is unbelievably graphic and disturbing, conveying a sense of nightmarish surrealism that live action simply can't capture. You're gonna need some eye bleach after seeing this one. Number 6. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Godzilla has a long history with nuclear weapons and radiation, but we've never seen anything quite like this. Godzilla, King of the Monsters ramps up the action to enjoyably absurd heights and features a highly memorable sequence involving a nuclear warhead. To bring Godzilla back to full HP, Serizawa sacrifices himself and quite literally detonates a nuke right next to the resting behemoth.
Saraba.
The scene features some amazing sights and is suitably epic in scale, with Godzilla's city and the underwater explosion being genuinely stunning. It looks cool, it sounds cool, and it's a definite high point of the Godzilla franchise. Number 5. Oppenheimer. Christopher Nolan's bracing and cerebral biopic about the father of the atomic bomb culminates in the truly mesmerizing and utterly terrifying real-life Trinity test. What sets it apart is how Nolan and company choose to capture the moment. The magnitude of this bomb can't be conveyed in just a simple light, flash, and a boom. This isn't just a bomb. They've opened Pandora's box. It's a monster, a destructive force unleashed on an unsuspecting world. We get the light, but we don't get the catharsis of the boom. We barely get any sound at all. Instead, the mushroom of fire and ash seems to go on forever, burning through space and maybe even time.
I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Number 4. The Day After. This apocalyptic television film from Nicholas Meyer is historic, capturing a 62% share and over 100 million viewers. Its subject matter was topical, and it touched on collective fears that hundreds of millions were experiencing.
A man on the radio said there might be a war. He's saying how we should unplug all our radio and TV and stuff. There's not going to be a war, is there?
The attack segment is especially brutal, depicting a realistic sense of pandemonium and destruction that would occur with a nuclear strike. It is impeccably acted and shot, featuring high production values and plenty of unforgettable imagery. The visceral impact of the sequence lingers long after the credits have rolled, and it serves as a perfect representation of that distinctive Cold War paranoia. Number 3. Threads. This movie aired on the BBC in September of 1984 and earned instant acclaim for its production values and harrowing realism. Threads accurately examines nuclear war and the resulting fallout, and the initial bombing scene is particularly distressing.
Where the go.
Watching this can make viewers feel genuinely stressed. So perturbing are its visuals, chaotic editing, and sound design. Movies like this aren't designed for entertainment. This was a warning, and a superbly effective warning at that. Luckily, the horrors of this scene never came to fruition during the Cold War, but it was a very real and very unnerving possibility. Number 2, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. James Cameron is a masterful filmmaker, and this is arguably one of his greatest sequences. And that's saying a lot. Sarah suffers a nightmare in which she envisions Judgment Day. She's watching an innocent day at the park when a nuke strikes Los Angeles. The visual effects and cinematography throughout the scene are astonishing. The events are lit with an eerie and apocalyptic orange glow, and we watch in horror as buildings and vehicles are ripped apart like paper. And that's nothing compared to the unimaginable horrors back at the park. We can't imagine the terror of nuclear devastation, and hopefully this is the closest that we'll get. It's plenty close for us, thank you very much.
Good, you think you're safe and alive? You're already dead, everybody. You're dead already. This whole place, everything you see is gone!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Dr. Strangelove. Okay, enough of the disturbing stuff. How about some comedy? Well, black comedy involving nuclear weapons and the end of the world, but comedy nonetheless.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece ends in memorable fashion with Kong riding the hydrogen bomb down to its target. It's an iconic image and also a gloriously bizarre one. Following some further hilarity in the war room, the movie ends with a montage of real nuclear bombs destroying the world while Vera Lynn's "We'll Meet Again" plays over the footage. It's one of the most startlingly impactful endings in movie history, and its sardonic qualities could only come from the genius mind of Kubrick.
But I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Which of these scenes still stays with you? Tell us about it in the comments.
This is Lawrence, Kansas. Is anybody there? Anybody at all?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.